So, hello and welcome to this edition of Let's Hear It from the Expert. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our industry expert today, a professional with over 2 decades of experience in the finance and telecom industry, Mr. Abhilash Chatterjee. So, on behalf of Christ Team to be University Lavasa, the hub of analytics, I, Arpita Ghosh, welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, Arpita. It's indeed a pleasure, and thanks for giving me this opportunity as well. And I'll be more than happy to take your questions, and if you want to learn about my views on the industry and things like that, would be more than happy to contribute to the same. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wow, that's really wonderful, sir. But before we really move on to our interaction, I think I would just introduce our industry expert in a better way by giving some more information. So, Mr. Abhilash Chatterjee is a seasoned techno commercial professional, and he has worked in various geographies, which include India, Africa, Middle East, and SAARC. So, he has experience as a vendor and user of technology and specializes in Fintech, digital banking, mobile payments, mobile financial services, microfinance, microbanking, wallets, alternate payment mechanisms for digital media. Wow, that's really quite a lot. So I think we really have a lot to share, Abhilash. Looking forward to that. So taking it ahead, I mean, from this very point that you said, you need to use technology. Abhilash, I'm very curious to know, I mean, given your experience and awareness of today's industry scenario, just suppose, forget the time when you were really a student, but had you been a student today, and with all this awareness that you have of what technology is doing, I would like to hear from you, given all the options for the different courses that we have, what kind of a course would you opt for?
Well, I'm still ready to be a student. I am ready to apply. I'm always learning. Arpita, you'll be surprised to know I try to devote at least 3 or 4 hours a week. I don't get time many times, but I do to just self-learn. I'm learning as every day I learn something or the other. Might be on the internet, might be some article which has been sent to me, might be read a book, could be anything, but it's always keep learning. But since you asked me what kind of courses I would have done had I been, well, I would have, without any doubt, I mean, the AI ML and big data, the data sciences kind of a courses would be my first choice. The reason only being is we are sitting on a plethora of data globally, and we need to process it, and we need to apply it and make it more useful. That data needs to be there's unstructured data, there's structured data. We need to kind of compile, bring it to a certain level where we can interpret that data and make application layers around it. We need people for all those kind of things. And I would have blindly just taken up an AI ML or a big data course, and I would have and there's a dearth of these kind of professionals in the industry. There are people who are being in the IT big IT companies who are being trained, who were not even trained on these things. They are being trained because there's no people available at home. The seniors are being trained to get into it. So I know there's a dearth, and there's a need, because there is a logical need for it, and I have explained that need to you, right? The reason being, we are sitting on big data, a lot of data. We don't know how to use it, what to make around it, and the future is only going to rely on the data about Arpita getting linked to Abhilash, and why Arpita knows Abhilash, and if Abhilash is getting a hyper personalized offer, will Arpita also like that offer? So all those kind of things, these are all, I'm just giving a small example about hyper-personalization and recommendation engine, but all these are going to be AI ML based, and they are becoming, they used to be rule engine based, but they are turning into AI ML based with the advances in technology. And I would have blindly gone for a AI ML course without doubt. Any of the certification, I mean, there are various, I'm sure there are various courses. So I'm not going into details of,
No, I do understand what exactly you're trying to say, because one thing comes across very clearly that today, it's like, at least I know our days, we would get a degree and then it's okay, you take your career ahead from there. But since everything is revolving around technology today, and we all know that technology constantly is upgraded, we just keep getting newer and newer technology coming in, which means that every student will have to continue to be a student for the rest of his or her life. There's no end to it.
Arpita, there is sorry to interject. There's no end to learning. I mean,
I know.
now
It's
the way
learning
world is, you learn
continuous.
till your last day. As I missed upon a point, and I would just bring it up. There is blockchain. You would have heard about this term blockchain, crypto, NFT.
Yes.
Yeah, these terminologies have been there for say past 5 or 6 years, but we are talking about it nowadays. The reason is I mean. Hey, I mean 15, 20 years down the line, before I used to talk about Java, and people who are doing SAP ERP, they are in high demand, and they are being, people are giving them H-1B visas and taking them away, and fishing them out of India and taking them.
Right.
I mean that brain drain has changed. Now it's equivalent. You have good job opportunities across the globe now if you're a good specialist. Now,
True.
what I would like to say is, to your point, just having that
Hmm.
degree doesn't help anymore. You need to specialize in a certain thing after that. I mean, the degree
Mm-hmm.
will take you somewhere. I'm not saying it's not
Yeah.
important. That is very important. But at the same time, 2 years down the line, if you ask me what next, I may talk about
Mhm.
something more additional on the AI/ML as a layer, probably because the technology would have changed. So technology is changing so fast that you need to equip yourself every day. I have equipped myself with
Mhm.
all these technologies. It's not that when I was there in the industry, these technologies never existed, as I discussed. But you need to upkeep yourself and keep certifying yourself and keep doing all these certifications on the side. I think it's the most important thing to do for you to keep progressing in
Absolutely.
your career. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
And
simple
being relevant in
example.
the industry, you need to be relevant in the
Right.
industry, right? At the end of the day.
Very true. And I mean, having heard that from you, because I mean, we at the Lavasa campus, we call ourselves as the hub of
Okay.
analytics. And like we were just saying, how things keep becoming obsolete. I mean, some time ago, like BBA, BCom, the ordinary courses were there, but today we are offering BCom course, which is BCom Financial Analytics, BBA course Business Analytics. So I mean, somewhere with all the data, like you rightly said, there's so much of data collection and everything that is there. But at the end of it, what do we do with that data until we don't analyze it? And I think that's where the understanding or knowing, specializing in analytics comes in. Could you throw a little bit of light on analytics, Abhilash?
Sure. And I was very happy, and I was hearing you very carefully when you said that you have these analytics kind of things embedded into, as I call it, embedded into your BComs or your
Mhm.
BBAs. And as I mentioned, analytics is going to play the key role. If a person who comes out, even if he's not directly he will be directly or indirectly, even if he's not a data engineer or a data scientist. I'm saying in some way he will be involved in the analytics part of it, because he may be either a user of that analytics, or he may be a person who is providing those feed into that analytics, or he will be kind of a person who is going to do some product around that analytics which has come out of that, kind of the data
Okay.
which we have. So that data, the analytics layer is the most important, middleware, I would say, on top
Mhm.
of that plethora of data, as I said. And I think there is there are so many kinds of analytics which can happen, like predictive analytics, regression. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not getting into neural networks and
No, no, no.
deep learning. I mean, I'm just throwing some points, but a person may pick up any one, maybe if he learns the basic and then picks up one kind of a thing, where it's closer to what his heart is, or he likes, there is a lot of likings also.
Mhm.
But then
Right.
knowing the basic layer is most important, because if you don't know the basics, because there's
True.
something like unsupervised learning, supervised learning, and then you train a data, and there are a lot of things when you do all this analytics. So somebody may like a certain field, he may like IoT telematics, as I would just put it, because he may be
Mhm.
an automobile freak guy, who wants to get into the automobile industry. So it will
Oh,
work
yeah.
there as well. IoT in fintech. So, hey, predicting the cash value at your ATM. Now, your ATM needs to be replenished with cash around a period of time. Like, how do you predict when will my ATM need a refill? Arpita, we were never able to do this without
Mhm.
AI ML, because
Okay.
you never know, because there might be a festival like Dasera, Diwali, Christmas. We have so many festivals in our country. Kya need, which
Mhm.
area will do what, is being predicted over the past behavior data. And then we know that this branch or this particular location has a lot of probably say Parsi community. So during Parsi New Year, there is a lot of so you would have never imagined going up to that level of thinking that even a Parsi New Year, because I took a Parsi because Parsis are a very small minuscule population, right? But in some areas, say Dadar in Bombay, there could be many Parsis, and during that Pateti or whatever Navroz, they might be withdrawing a lot because of the spends they do. So I'm just giving a small example. So all this is possible because of analytics, right? Now there would be somebody who would have written that code. There would be somebody who would have done the predictive modeling basis which the ATM. So one use case of an ATM replenishment requires 6 kind of people, right? I'm just trying to show that, who know analytics from various angles. One is a product guy who's handling the ATMs, who is responsible for the revenue out of the ATM. One person who is getting that data, from the ATM, unstructured data of how many transactions are happening on an ATM on a particular day. Somebody is doing the analysis. Somebody is writing an algo on top of it. Somebody is processing that data. He's matching it with the other ATM next to him, where, say 300 meters away. So all this kind of stuff. Analytics is going to be the most important part in it. And you could be a user of analytics. So coming back to your point, you could be a user of analytics, you could be a consumer of analytics, or you could be one who has made that analytics. So there are various use cases. So same person could, depending on his choice, but he should know the basics of analytics for that. For that, a certification course, I would say, or some specialization would be an added advantage. Otherwise, just reading here and there from YouTube, I'm sorry to say, it doesn't help. You need a concentrated effort.
Yes.
I brought up this point, Arpita, because a lot of these, I'm not naming any of these online courses, but there are a lot of these online courses which have just kept up with some videos which just keep throwing gibberish at you. I mean, some of them are really gibberish, and you feel that you have become an analyst. It's not so easy. So you need to do real-time projects. I'm just trying to bring out the academic part of it. You need to do a real good project along with it, and you just can't. I'm not such a fan of the online course which is happening, with running videos, where there's no live interaction, and you feel you have become an analyst. So this is my personal point of view again.
Yeah, no, because from whatever I'm hearing from you, I do understand there's, along with the theoretical inputs that we get, there's a lot of live project, hands-on training also, which is required.
Absolutely. An internship kind of a thing, or some model where you're doing something on the live lab. We have labs, training labs for the analytics. So if somebody sits on that lab and does it rather than seeing some YouTubes or watching some on your mobile, I'm not a fan of that kind of learning. I mean, so that's my personal take.
Well, we at Price Lavasa also firmly believe that it's not just about classroom learning. Along with classroom learning, it's also about internship. It's also about working on live projects. It's also about having industry experts like you come and talk to our students.